Hello everybody, welcome to another review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new album by the Mathcore American band, the Callous Daoboys, with I Don't Want to See You in Heaven. So, Callous Daoboys honestly is one of the more refreshing bands in the genre. It's sort of a style of metalcore that hasn't really been seen that much of the light of day, or at least in terms of popularity. And I'm not saying that Callous Daoboys are the band to revive the genre, but it just seemed to be more of a fad, or at least just kind of more of a phase for some bands. For example, Architects used to be more mathcore, especially in their earlier elements, but over time weaned more into progressive metalcore, and mathcore just became kind of this push to the back genre that some bands still dabble with, but not really much else than that. But the Callous Daoboys are probably one of the bigger bands currently in the genre, pushing the auntie about it. So we're gonna see how this album holds up. There's honestly a lot of good material here, and through the singles we had a good variety too, just from these four alone. There's 13 tracks, 2 of them are more or less interlude tracks, like number 1, Collection of Forgotten Dreams, and number 2, Opt Out. While there is a number 3, this one's more or less a proper song, country song in reverse, featuring Low Before the Breeze. There's a lot of interesting features on this, but I actually haven't listened to any of them, so it's interesting to see kind of what these elements are going to bring, as I'm not aware of the surprise due to not having the information on the bands that are featured on it, like Orthodox, who I haven't really ever listened to, First Vows, something I have never heard of before, and Low Before the Breeze, a band name that I may have heard once or twice, but I have no recollection of it. But the consistency of this album is pretty high. Honestly, when it comes to mathcore, it can be a little bit overwhelming, or just kind of get a bit too repetitive, but I feel like there's a perfect balance on metalcore, mathcore, and even just some more post-hardcore. It blends everything together, so you get a little bit of everything, which works quite nicely. Out of the singles, Two-Headed Trout probably remains my favourite. I just love the little I guess it's like a French horn sort of sound. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just a nice little touch to add to the direction of the song. I like the clean parts, and I just like the part where they outright go ballistic, especially since the first 2 songs kind of blast you with a 1-2 whammy of just heavy moments like Schizophrenia Legacy, Full Moon Guidance are just absolute bangers of tracks, and then you kind of go into familiar territory with the single. The other singles we had, Lemon, this one remained a lot more on the tamer side. It certainly was one of the softer songs they put out and didn't really hit into the hardcore mathcore sound the band has. But the Demon of Unreality, Limping Like a Dog, this one easily is pushing more into that really downright dark, menacing, aggressive sound. Not necessarily dark, but there's definitely angst to it that is very enjoyable. And to hear the barking as well. I feel like Knocked Loose really set something off with Counting Worms, so it is kind of fun to just see that being brought here. And then we had Distracted by the Mona Lisa, kind of a very standard Callous Daoboys experience, where it's got a catchy chorus, but it also just enthralls you in just with this absolute monstrosity of just dirty riffs and just downright grueling uncleans. The variety we get with the singles are great, and then there's also a lot of good surprises as well, like Douchebag Safari, just kind of having this really weird guitar that sounds like a car start up, just with the car trying to rev up a car pretty much, and I just love the way it goes into it, because it definitely reminds me of Douchebag. Just kind of the Douchebag Safari is literally, looking at the title, that's kind of what I imagine some douchebags driving like that. And then you have Idiot Temptation Force, which this one is honestly quite funny with the Ooga Bug. I can't remember how it goes, but there's certainly a bit that uses Ooga and just some other random gibberish to fit into the idiot side of it. The thing I like about this is also references to a lot of modern media is also used as well, which some bands generally go into, but the fact that they even reference talking about metalcore shirts and just how you're not going to impress the family or anyone with it, definitely got a laugh out of me, and I think that was on Schizophrenia Legacy, or Full Moon Guidance. The only issue is there are some points where I get muddled with other songs, but that's probably due to the variety of stuff we have on here. There's a lot of nice stuff, and I think the fact that it can go from downright grueling to some of the softer stuff in a while is got a very good mixture. It definitely balances out to having this really fun riding aesthetic. Definitely an album I wasn't expecting to be just as fun as it is, but is pretty fun. I think the long song at the end is decent, but it certainly isn't anything groundbreaking. It's just nice to kind of see him dabble into a longer, heavier song. But I mean, almost 12 minutes. I don't know. Has Callous Daoboys really done songs like this? It definitely feels at least unique for the album itself, considering everything else is like 3 to 4 minutes with an occasional 5-minute song here and there. A lot of the songs are just rapid fire. Kind of reminds me of hardcore punk. Stuff like Knocked Loose, where the songs are generally shorter, but they get absolutely everything out of it, and you get your entire fill from it. And yeah, that's what I honestly see with this record. There is a huge amount of variety, and the energy on this just is pretty consistent. It's just all a lot of fun. It can be silly, it can be fun, it can just downright be menacing. It's got everything I think it needs to be an amazing album, and that's pretty much what I have to leave it there. It's downright pretty good and kind of exceeded my expectation. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. I like this one quite a bit. I feel like the only things that kind of bring it down is, as much as I do like the variety, some songs like Body Horror for Birds just kind of leans too much into this softer sound that I just don't think really necessarily fits, especially since you kind of have a softer song, Lemon, there, but luckily you do pick up right again with the Demon of Unreality, Limping Like a Dog, just downright ripping into just some of the most vicious moments on the record. And it was a great single to follow Two-Headed Trout. Arguably my favourite song on the record. A lot of good stuff, honestly, and while I think the interludes do go on for a bit long, the variety's nice. Not every song is downright concrete perfect, but there's just so much enjoyment with each one. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.